Hello my loves, welcome to my channel. I am Kaz and this is Tarot and Ink. And this is your weekly read as well for the week coming ahead. I'm going to apologise first of all because it's officially spring, people are outside, they're doing stuff to their gardens, you know, I've got a neighbour that's building a whole like vegetable patch and it's all super cute, but they're blasting music out and I'm really hoping, because obviously it's licensed music, I'm really hoping the microphone and the camera doesn't pick anything up because otherwise this video is getting taken down. So we're going to try, we're going to attempt, we're going to leave it up to fate and the universe and everything else, and hopefully someone will have my back and the microphone won't pick up all the background music. I mean, they're playing great songs. So, you know, it could be a lot worse. I'm really enjoying it. But welcome to your weekly read. This is a timeless reading. I've forgotten what week it's supposed to be, so whenever this is published, it's that week. Maybe it's officially a timeless reading. But you have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. So pile 1, you have the pretty girl kind of thing. Because I had this charm, I think the other week, a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was. So I tried to pull out a different charm for you so we didn't get repeats. And yeah, that came out again. So I didn't realise I had a duplicate of that in the bag. And when I shuffled it, I pulled it out again. And I was like, oh well, that's meant to be for you guys. Pile 2, you've got the really cute little ice cream, the lollipop with the hundreds and thousands at the top and a little cheeky flirty wink. So pile 3, you have the very cute looking carrot. Maybe you're like my neighbours and you're, you know, out in the garden building a vegetable patch. Who knows? What's really exciting this week, so I have my usual kind of fairy deck, but I have some new tarot for you. So I've got What's the Tea? So if you need to know what's going on, what's the tea in the situation, this is a really cool deck. I had a little shuffle. I got it from a seller on Vinted. But it's an official deck. And then this one I bought from Waterstones, which is the Happy-ish Oracle deck. So for people going through hard stuff, it looks really cool. I haven't actually opened it yet. So that's going to be a new thing. As ever, I've got my bowl of kind of goodies here. You know, somebody could be involved in diplomacy, international relations. Somebody could be from Manila or really like Manila. And then I've got my words, my kind of scribbles. I'm just going to get these back just in case there's nudity on the cards. And as ever, I've got my coin, which is the yes, no coin. I'll put that there. So perfect. Oh, and obviously my tea, my cup of tea, because, you know, of course. And Jinx is here beside me, giving herself a little bit of a kitty wash. So yeah, we're all here, we're all ready to go. So pick your pile and I will see you on the other side. Hello pile 1. Right, let's get started. So you've got the pretty girl charm, and I still, with that card, I want to be like, hey pretty girl. I feel like you're that kind of pile that's been working on yourselves, you know, a fair bit. And you know, the spring, I feel like some of you have SAD, is it seasonal something disorder? I feel like we all have it to a certain extent, not to minimise what, you know, the impact it's had or anything else. And I definitely feel, my whole point of saying this is like, I definitely feel you're like coming into your season. I'm seeing like a flower that's budding. It's like complete spring. It's, you know, you're being gentler to yourself, you're being kinder to yourself, you're also being more kind of forward pushing. It's like Aries is giving you, or Aries season is giving you a kick. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, I've got the days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll take a look at your week ahead. But yeah, like the pretty girl thing, you know, you're spending more time doing an at-home spa, you're, you know, fussing with yourself a bit more. Like I've just had to readjust my top, and it's stuff like that where you're looking at yourself in the mirror, your reflection, and being like, okay, I'm going to truly love myself. I'm going to, you know, see myself in a different light that I haven't before, and I've been trying to do. You know, you'll be reading, if you're a reader, like more books or listening to more podcasts on, you know, affirmations or how to love yourself or that kind of stuff. It's really like a forward I'm getting like a gentle empress kind of vibe. It's I'm looking at myself, I'm focusing on myself, I'm in a new era of me, and that's what I'm getting. So we're going to Monday. Yep. So looking at things from a different perspective, looking at yourself from a different perspective, being like, actually, I'm gonna continue to love myself as it is. And this reminds me of, there was a girl or a woman, I can't remember what social media platform it was, but she did this experiment and showed, it was probably Instagram, but she showed the impact every day where she just, from day one stood in the mirror and said nice things about herself. And she did that continuously for a month. And by the end of the month, she was completely transformed. The way she was talking to herself, the narrative, the way she looked, the way she held, you could physically see it in her body and in her language. The way she had worked every day to be more attuned within herself. And I'm seeing that. And I'm seeing you still doing that, and it's change doesn't necessarily happen in such a big way. It's those tiny little steps that you do every single day in those moments of every day. It's, the cultivation of mindfulness. Tuesday, I have to cover this up. Oh yeah, I just realized. Very naked. These cards are very naked. So we're going to cover that. Wednesday, Thursday, you got a really good week. Friday, the Empress, what did I say? Saturday. Sunday, the Hermit. Okay, so we have Monday, Tuesday. This is, you are really in your feels. You are really in your, oh my God, that's so many things I want to say at the same time. But you're really in your, your energy. This is, what did I say earlier? Was it a new era of me? This is fully that for this week. So you've got the Hangman here. Let me try and swap these cards around because there's some nudity. There you go. So you've got the Hangman era, which really is about looking at yourself from a different perspective or looking at a situation from a different perspective. And you have the snake here, which aside from infinity, things going round and round in a circle. This to me feels like the way I want to hold this card and the way that snake feels like a thought or like that mental chatter with that. And this is, the Hangman thinking of that and being like, okay, let's change the narrative of this. Let's change the narrative of my mental kind of state and class it, and let's be nice to ourselves. Let's give ourselves some grace. Let's look at ourselves from a different point of view. And it's almost like you've got no choice but to do that, because it's like you finally realize, that your biggest cheerleader, it has to be yourself. And it's that kind of thing, And you're definitely being guided. We've got the anchor. You're definitely being guided by the universe. And again, tied like another snake here, tied to the universe, And you're working on that a lot more on Monday. He's also in the number 4, which to me, the number 4 always thinks of like, if you think of the Emperor, which obviously comes up after the Empress, the number 4 is very much a kind of a vibe of authority. I'm taking charge. This is my decision and I'm owning every second of it. And then we've got Tuesday, which is, if you were asking a question and this card came up, it's a yes. It is like somebody screaming yes at you. That's what this whole card is. I could just hear Jinx snoring, and she's right next to me. And this, I always talk about how, that saying of, with the sun, the grass is always greener on the other side. You are on the other side. On Tuesday, you're fully in your joy, in your presence, and the universe is there with you. That's what this card is to me. Let's put that there. And I said earlier about, ooh. Oh my goodness, there we go. I said earlier about the Hierophant as well, which is, the epitome of kind of Taurus. You've got a lot of bulls here as well, and it's about that luxury and that Venus-ness. And Venus in Taurus right now? I feel like it is. I should know this. But whether I know it and whether I remember it are two different things. But yeah, the Hierophant is very much about that physical aspect. You're in your body, you're in your element. And again, you've got the High Priestess here, or it's more the High Priestess than the Empress. It's more about looking within than anything else. This kind of section here, and obviously the Trinity. So the section here, can you see the snake as well going around? That reminds me of good luck. And you see the snake is completely unraveled compared to kind of Monday, where the snake is winding and winding and winding. You know, your thoughts are winding and winding and winding, and you're changing that perspective. By Wednesday, there's a lot more clarity. You know what actions you need to take. You know what your body needs as well, and you're giving your body that aspect of it. I feel like some of you are going to book a trip to Italy, to Pisa. I have a great time. Yeah, or like to Tuscany. I feel like some of you went probably last August, or you're going to go this August as well. If you don't see how, I feel like you will. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you've got the bird of hope here as well, which I don't think I've pointed out in any of these readings before. And then you've got the Trinity symbol here. So it's mind, body, spirit coming into alignment and how they feed into each other consistently. So yeah, that's Wednesday. By Thursday, you've got the power, again, that physical element of really being in your body, being in your element, quite literally. And, you know, you've got your 4 pillars here of what you need, whether that's financial, home, employment, mental, physical health kind of thing. By Thursday, or really Thursday predominantly, you're really in your element of like, let's look at all the things that I need. I'm getting like, is it Maslow's hierarchy of needs? It's like that. You know, you're fully taking everything to stock and a review and going, what is it I need to do? You're putting yourself first. And I feel like a lot of you, like myself, have spent years as a carer, like looking after other people and everything else. And it's like a weird and scary thing when you look after yourself for the first time and kind of go, what do I need? What do I like? You know? And it doesn't have to be somebody that you cared for, but like you're surrounded by people who, you know, I'm being drawn to this bit, you know, needs drama, chaos, likes people who could be an ex-partner, or an ex-housemate for some of you, who just thrived on that drama and that chaos. Neighbours. Some of you, it was your neighbour, you know. So yeah, by Friday, great success. Everything is in alignment. Kind of here. And even if you don't have, you know, all of your, say, financials in check, you'll have a plan. By the end of the day, Friday, you'll have a full plan and you'll be working continuously towards it. Some of you, so I've got a wisdom tooth coming out and it's been fine, but now while I've been doing this reading, it's kind of playing up a little bit. I can feel it trying to push against the surface, and I feel like that's metaphorically what you're doing. You're pushing against, you know, that surface, you're pushing against that glass ceiling. But also for some of you, like go to the dentist. It's not as bad as what you think. Obviously, take what resonates. This is for entertainment purposes only. I think I forgot to say that in the intro. But yeah, go. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Go to it. Saturday. So yeah, the Empress. You're fully in your Empress era. You're fully, you know, working on yourself. You're fully in your, I mean, I do energy. So take this how it resonates, but you're fully in your kind of feminine era with this. Your gentleness, there's a softness with it. You know, there's a balance here. There's a royalty. So in the UK, you're not allowed to hunt or hurt swans because they're considered the royal pet. So people can go to prison and stuff for it. So every time I see a swan, I think of royalty. I think of kings and queens and legacy and that kind of history of it. And I feel like some of you are ancestral pattern breakers in that way of you probably had a parent who may have loved you but not really known how to show you love. And it's that thing of we only know how to love people from the way that we've kind of been taught, or we only know how to love people to the extent of what our capacity of love is in that way. And I feel like some of you are really, you know, breaking that cycle. If your parents, you know, I was going to say if you're a parent, but also there's like 7 things trying to come out of my mouth right now. But like if your parents, you know, were better grandparents than they were parents, or if your parents were, you know, didn't know what they were doing, or, you know, they're still human. in that respect. Like, you can see all of that now, but also you can be better for your own kids or your future kids or people around you. You know, there's an unconditional kind of love here, and I'm getting like the shield again with the swan, which is very much like I protect and guard with love as opposed to with criticism. So, you know, that's the whole thing. Somebody needs to hear that. That's the whole thing with Saturday. I'm drawn to these birds as well. It's like singing rather than gossiping. And then Sunday, we are going back into like hermit mode, which is, you know, you've established a real connection with your body. You're doing a lot this week. You're really checking things in, you know, getting things in order. And then at the point on Sunday is your reflection day, where you're, you know, you got Cerberus looking back and also to forward. You're holding on to hope here, and you're looking at, again, another snake. You're looking at the universe. You know, this is the symbol of the universe with the snake and the egg. And you're not over. So whenever I see spikes, they're kind of a gentler here, a bit more pointed here, you know, a bit more direct here. That was the word I wanted. You know, there's gentleness here. And then you've got sharper spikes. That makes me think of like overthinking every time I see, yeah, those kind of spikes. And you're not overthinking, but you're kind of calculating is what I'm getting by Sunday, by going like, okay, I've got my things in order in the 3D in this surrounding, but, you know, what is it that I really like? What is it I really enjoy? What is it I want to do? And part of you, I want to say, like, go back to your childhood as well. You know, what did you enjoy as a kid? What made you happy? What thrived? So that's what I want to tell you. You had a good week, part 1. Let's get you your advice. I'll put that there. Sorry, Jinxie. What is the advice for part 1? What is the advice for part 1? Storykeeper. Yeah. You are, you know, tell your own story, your legacy, write your wisdom. You are the author of your own story. You get to write this. Nobody else gets to tell you what to do, how you should live your life, how you should feel, how you should look, or anything else. I feel like some of you are really coming to terms with your weight as well. I feel like for some of you, there's always been a historical issue with body image and your weight and everything else, and you're really coming to you know, be like, I actually am in love with my body and in love with how I feel. So that's your advice, you know, trust yourself, like fully trust yourself. What's the T? Sorry, these are not in order. Oh, bear with me. There we go, that should be. Yeah, I think some of you needed to hear, you needed kind of permission, or to be like, oh, okay, I'm trying to live my own truth, my own life and everything else. Is that okay? And it's like, of course it is. You know, I always think that how somebody treats you and how somebody like thinks of you is really a reflection of themselves most of the time. You know, there's a lot of people that tell me, you know, I shouldn't be doing tarot because of this, that, and the other. And it's like, I get to do what I want. You lot are not here. You're not paying my bills. You're not doing this. You're not doing that, and the other. So you're full of criticism, but I'm going to do what makes me happy. And I feel like that's what you need to hear and what you need to do. Like, you don't need other people's permission. Genuinely do what makes you happy. You know, you're not a failure if you pick up a hobby and then decide, you know, this is not for me. You're trying things. You're experimenting. You're being playful. So, what is it you need? This week, part 1. It's that romantic love affair. No wonder you're in your feels. Yeah, we've got secret lover, passion over loyalty, sex fix. This is like, obviously these cards are very new. But to me, it feels very much like create romance in your daily life as well, or in the week, because this feels like not just a romantic love affair with another person, but like one with yourself. For some of you, it will be someone coming in and making you feel good and stuff, but I really feel like, you know, you're putting more of an emphasis on yourself than on other people. This was reversed. Yeah, fishing for comments. So you don't need permission from other people. You don't need feedback. You don't need anything else from other people. You know, if you're doing something new and you want a professional to come in and tell you stuff, you know, if you're, you know, I gave the example of a dentist earlier. If you're at the dentist and they don't really say anything and just make that kind of like, noise, obviously inquire, you know, don't be afraid to speak up at that point. But I think it's really about knowing when to speak up. That's the real thing this week. And then, yeah, I'm going to leave that there. And then your happy-ish oracle. So, this is cute. Oh my god, this is so cute. If I can get everything out. There we go. Oh, these are so cute. Look how cute these are. Right. Hello, cards. What do we need for pile 1? What would be really helpful? Should I have synced to these cards before? Yeah, I didn't feel like it though. Oh, that one. So you messed up. You said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, got the world's worst tattoo in the worst possible spot. Okay, join the club. We meet initially. Yeah. This is quite cute. Sorry, I stopped there just to kind of gather my thoughts. We meet literally all the time, every day, in every corner of the world. Just a group of screw-ups who had the audacity to be imperfect. There you go. That's what I want. The audacity to be imperfect. That's what I want you to embrace, part 1. We make sure to judge ourselves and each other ferociously for every little misstep. And we never forget or forgive. Kidding. We look at each other and ourselves with kindness and compassion and remind ourselves that being a person is a messy business. Yeah. It's this bit. Have the audacity to be imperfect this week. And that part 1 is your reading. I feel like I'm going to leave it there. So that was super cute. Thank you so much. Please check out my other readings, my other playlists. And yeah, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'm forever just mixing things up. So yeah, greatly appreciated. Have a gorgeous week. Hello, pal 2. Right, let's get started. I keep forgetting to say in the intro, this is for entertainment purposes only. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Hopefully I'll remember to say that for pile 3, but I didn't remember till partway through pile 1 to say that. So it's fine. Yeah, I've got you this little cheeky little lollipop. I feel like there's like a flirty kind of vibe. I'm drawn to the hundreds and thousands. This also feels like kind of part a celebration, kind of throwing things up in the air. It's a nice little vibe. Yeah, you're in your kind of cute era as well a little bit, and I feel like I kind of want to hold this, and part of me wants to like hang on to this lollipop or hang on to this kind of joy and this playfulness and the spring, and just knowing full well that this will melt. And there's that feeling of, you know, melting things away, but also the literal of sometimes the good times don't always last, and sometimes we have to just kind of melt and let things go. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like, you have to recognize what's in your control and what isn't in your control. You can't control this melting kind of thing. You know, it's going to melt, whether that's, I'm going to say it, in your mouth, or, you know, melting in general. It's going to do what it needs to do, and that's fine. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, there's this real thing of you need to let go of control a bit and just let things that naturally happen. So Monday. What did I say? I haven't seen these cards. Yeah, defeat. Monday is admitting defeat. It's like, I can't control these things. I can control what I can control and can't control what I can't control. And that's what I keep getting. It's, there's a protectiveness as well in the way that it wants to kind of turn upside down. You have that kind of protective symbol, which is great. That's what this is, But really, it's about admitting defeat. You have too many thoughts. There's too much kind of overwhelming a little bit, admit defeat. Tuesday, very nice. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's your floatiness. Saturday, Sunday. Cute. Okay. It's not as bad as it looks. Can I just stress, first of all, and can you see everything? There's no... Oh, yeah, there's a bit of nudity. Let's hide her a little bit. Not that she wants to be hidden, but anyway. So, yeah, we've got admitting defeat on Monday. It's throwing your hands up in the air and being like, okay, I feel like for some of you, you had so many plans for this Easter weekend, or for this weekend, if you're watching this at a different time, and you can't control everything. You can't help, things come out of nowhere. Like, I can't help this person revving a freaking motorcycle right outside my window and you're all gonna hear it. I can't control that. I can make things worse by leaning out and telling them to, shut the F up, but I can't control it. So I just kind of have to live with it and be like, you know what, it is what it is. And just have a bit of a giggle and be like, okay, well, there's worse things in the world, and it's that water off a duck's back kind of energy. You just stretch your toes out, you have a little bit of a movement, and you kind of be like, okay, whatever. Again, it is what it is. By Tuesday, you have that connecting to a higher power and connecting to the earth. You have things a bit more in motion. There are more ideas. You're more in your element here on Tuesday. There's a groundedness, and I feel like for some of you, you're gonna kind of lie on the sofa and play video games or whatever else, have some kind of escapism. This is on on Tuesday and on Sunday. There's a rebalance here. About continuously checking in with yourself and being like, am I okay? Am I sure I'm okay? What do I need right now? It's very similar to Pile 1 in that way, but a different kind of vibe. I keep being drawn to the Morrigan here as well within your pile. She's not quite in motion yet, but she's setting off. She's getting things aligned. And I think because of that, when you get to... Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. But when you get to Wednesday, that sorrow, that's a mix for me in terms of there's a little sorrow for leaving certain things behind. And they're not major things, just kind of smaller things. It might be you have to pause on a project. Say you took up knitting or whatever else. You can't spin every plate. So you've got to put things down for a bit. And there's a little bit of sorrow there, but it's not massive. And I think for some of you there is a bit of an exhaustion when it comes to the kind of sorrow as well. It's do I really have to save this person? Do I really have to deal with this again? There's I feel like a real disruption of plans. I want to keep adjusting in my seat. I want to kind of keep wiggling and moving, and it is that kind of adjustment. And for some of you, there's a real exhaustion with that, because you're like, why is it always my time that has to be sacrificed? Why is it always me that has to be the rescuer and stuff like that? And I want to tell you, you don't. Again, what is in your control? How do other people control you? I feel like for some of you, how do I say this nicely? I mean, I don't have to say it nicely, but I'm trying to be a bit gentle here. Some of you are being manipulated by family members. Take what resonates. Maybe some of you are the only ones that your family talks to. Maybe there's I'm getting like an isolation, like an inclusion type thing. People isolating themselves, people moving away from stuff, and you're the only person that they talk to. or confide in or whichever else, but there's a control there. I don't feel like your interests are in their best interest, if that makes sense. And I feel like if you're watching this part 2, you're very empathetic. You know, you would literally give a stranger the shirt off your back kind of thing. And not everyone would do that for you. And I think there's a real sorrow there as well. On Wednesday, things coming to light a little bit more as well. The people that you thought had your back, or that you do kind of everything for, that you're always rescuing. They're kind of, either they've not changed their behavior, or they show you they've not changed their behavior, or they're kind of, I'm getting like a spoiled energy, but it's like, it's a spoiled energy that's warranted because they have, you know, different issues going on, and there's a victimization. That was the word I was trying to like pull out. There's a victimization mentality here, and I really want to tell you to put your needs first. You are not somebody's rescuer. You are not somebody's superhero. You need to be your own rescuer, your own superhero. This is very much like, look back on yourself. Again, sorry for hitting the camera, but it's I want to kind of like grab you and just shake you a little bit and be like, if you keep doing the same thing, nothing is going to change. And some of you really don't want to hear that, and that's fine. But what you can control, you can change. Really look at what is it I can control. Your responses, your actions, yourself, how you prioritize other people over you. It's all of that stuff. And that's what I'm getting. You know, Thursday, put yourself first. You're really seeing the clarity of a full situation here, the clarity of everything. And it's up to you what you do with that. You know, I feel like for a lot of you, by Friday, you're making that change. And this is where that kind of flirty energy kind of comes here, where you're more playful, you're more experimenting, you're also kind of doing more things for yourself as well here. And I get, it's a flirtiness, not necessarily with other people, but for some of you, if it is like a romantic thing, you're kind of seeing through the flirty manipulation. And if it's, take what resonates, if it's for you, it's more you're flirting with the ideas of looking after yourself or putting yourself number one. There's a release here. You know, the Princess of Wands, she's still attached to the tiger, and the tiger is meant to represent fear in that way. And then she's got the antlers. You can see the antlers kind of here. You know, they represent wisdom. So, and again, you've got the sun here. This is I'm saying yes to myself. I don't know if I need to cover a bum. I feel like it's fine. I'm saying yes to myself, and the fear is still attached, but I'm doing it anyway. I might cover a bum. I didn't realize. You never know. You never know what, you know, YouTube decides is not appropriate or not. Saturday. This is that Chariot thing of, I'm getting things organized. I'm getting things ready. I'm not moving forward first. This is a very slow sorting of things. And I feel like there's so many things that just bubble over as well. There's a slight overwhelm with this. And actually, in order to move forward, in order to maybe change behaviors or habits or how you react to stuff, it's a lot easier than what you think. There's an overthinking with this, and I've never picked that up from this card before, but there is an overthinking with this. You know, this kind of bubbling over effect here. I actually don't know what those are. They remind me of kind of like jellyfish. Yeah, like a stinging, like your thoughts are stinging yourself. Oh, your thoughts are stinging yourself into submission. How interesting. That will resonate with some of you, not all of you. Yeah, like with the manipulative family, you really want to, or manipulative partner, you really want to like take a step back from those people, really come away from those people, or really change behaviors. And the thoughts that bubble over here, that thoughts that keep you submissive, are very much like, well, if I do that, they won't have anyone to talk to, they won't be able to do this, they won't be able to do that, whichever else. And people will survive. They'll be fine. They may not be completely fine, but it's still not up to you to rescue them. That's what this is on on Saturday, I feel like you're really kind of seeing things and getting things in order and being like, no, I need to put myself first. There is an overwhelmingness, and I feel like I want to catch my breath a little bit. But I think by Sunday, you really know, you've got the high priestess here. You really know you need to move forward. You've got the camel. The camel can go so many stretches and then need to stop and have some water and stuff. But it goes for miles. Miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And this reminds me of you having to... I'm getting this image of riding a camel through a desert, not knowing when your next break would be. But knowing that you just need to look at the minute and take every single step at a time. And that's all it is. And part of this with the camel I'm getting is like, that's the universe carrying you. You may not fully see it, but it is. But you need to like trust what you can control and trust the universe. And I feel like you're doing that a lot more on Sunday. Again, a lot of this, it's not like a massive situation or massively bad. This feels like everyday life stuff that just kind of grinds you down a little bit. That's what this feels like. Yeah, I hope that resonates. That's what I'm getting. So, these are new cards. I had a little flick of them yesterday. We're going to get what is the tea on your situation. What advice do you need? I'm going to pull out your advice card in a second, actually. But I feel like this is really important because I was going to do your fairy first. But, oh, that's too many things. Put that there. Okay. Fine. Okay, I'm being told put them down. Ain't shit. Kicking a romantic lover out could be a separation and be somebody cheated. I'm sorry if they did. But this is a kind of... I get this feeling of... something that you're saying to yourself for a lot of you that... Yeah. Something that you're saying to yourself for a lot of you. And I need you to stop talking negatively about yourself as well. And I feel like for some others of you, this really is like that sorrow, that kind of separation, that person's not changed their behavior, feeling cheated on. It doesn't have to be romantic, but, that person ain't shit. I don't want to pull all of these. I'm going to pull this one. So impersonator, wants your life, copies your style, obsessed with you. I feel like there's a lot here. Yeah. This feels very like somebody is in your personal space and they're using your own kind of thoughts and everything else to manipulate you as well. I don't want to pull all these. I'll pull one more. Okay, that one. Oh, somebody wants you back. This is like lies about I will change, I will do this. Didn't know your worth. Now they're desperate. Too little, too late. And I feel like for some of you, this is coming into this, but like, obviously, but I feel like for some of you, this is also you didn't know your own worth. You didn't know the things that you're capable of, the things that you can do. And it's not too little, too late for you. It is for other people that screw you over. I feel like some of you have got people kind of on their, I'm hearing like round 3 all over again. I keep hearing round 3, like they're on their last chance, the literal last chance. I don't mean they'll get like 100 more chances after that, but they are literally, you're done as well. For some of you, you're done with the kind of putting yourself down as well, or letting others manipulate you into putting yourself down. So I don't want those. We're getting all 3. Forcer, pushy energy, crosses your boundaries, gets what they want by any means. Yeah. This is what we're talking about in terms of like that manipulative pushing against, you're having to kind of defend. Yeah. I feel like this says everything. People don't change. Some people do, but they have to be doing the work. And sometimes when people are doing the work, they're a bit more of an a-hole than before because they're clearing things out. They're going through their shadow self, played out. So some of you, this really is kind of a love situation. You've had You've had enough. You feel like you've been played, manipulated, played out. Yeah. And rejected. Ghosted hard, ignored and erased. This, yeah. If somebody is not there for your benefit, get rid of them. You know, and I mean that in a way of, like, it sounds selfish, but it's not. You have to put yourself first. You know, first is you, second is you, third is you, fourth is you, fifth is you. If anything else is left over, it's you. You have to fill your own cup. You can't be rescuing people all the time, you know, because then they'll just treat you like shit. I don't know if I can swear, but I'm going to swear. This is your advice for the week. Crystal, creation, dawn, new beginning. Yeah, this is fully like, I am crystallizing everything. I'm going to crystallize my thoughts, my behaviors, my patterns. I'm going to do things different, and I'm going to pick me first. That's what that feels like. And then I've got your advice. I feel like this reading is slightly all over the place just because there's lots of different energies. There's a lot of like romantic stuff over here, but I feel like in general it's not as wild or as big or as heavy as you think. It really isn't. It's like everything is made from small decisions. You know, it's not a huge thing. Okay, you don't want to come out. Fine. That one. Shh. I like these cards. Shush. It is natural to want to have the right words for a situation, to feel like you'll have the exact right thing to say when everything is wrong. You do not need to do this. You only need to show up and shut up, to close your mouth and listen, to others, to yourself, to let the silence sit, unfilled for as long as it needs to exist. So there's your advice for the week. And that feels like very much like listen to not just what people say, but what they don't say. What are their actions saying? What are they doing? And this is like very much an idea of take a step back and look at the situation as a whole. Look at what you can control. I feel like I want to shake you as I control what you can control, what you can't control, or anything else. I'm going to leave it there, pal, too. I hope that resonates. I hope that was all right. I have lots of different videos and playlists on my channel. Please go take a look, as well as daily card reads as well. And thank you so much. I hope you have a gorgeous week. More than anything else, you will be absolutely fine as well. No matter what happens, you will be fine. You know, take what you put out and put it into yourself in a nice, loving kind of way. And take what resonates as well, because there was a mix of different things there. But yeah, if you could like and subscribe, it would really help me as a new fresh YouTube creator, so that these messages can find the people that they want. Thank you so much. Hello pal 3, thank you for picking this reading. I keep forgetting to say, and I forgot to say in the intro, but I did say it for pal 1 and 2. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please take what resonates, leave what does not, because we're pulling through the kind of collective energy with this. I have you as this charm, which to me reminds me of like a silly little carrot. It reminds me of something kind of cute and cozy and sweet, and more like, what's the word, like Animal Crossing kind of vibes. Like we're in our gamer era here. I want to say, I've got the death card in my head, and I want to say to some of you, because this won't resonate for all of you, that if you're going through a bereavement or a grief or something else, firstly, I'm really sorry. You know, I'm very, very sorry for what you're going through. Bereavement is really tough. But also, like, it's okay for you to run away and play games and be a bit silly and take yourself, you know, and sit in your feels. Like, it's okay for you to do that as well. You know, I did that a lot, you know, after my dad passed away. I, you know, spent a fair bit of time kind of gaming and stuff, and just trying to create something that I could foresee, if that makes sense, that I could kind of control, and I didn't feel kind of so helpless in ways. You know, something that was, what's the word for it? I can't think of what the word for it is, but stability. Like kind of create some kind of stability again and just kind of sit. Yeah, it's normality. That's it. Stability and normality. You know, I didn't take that much time off work. You know, I went into work again quite quickly, probably a bit more quick than I did take some time, but probably faster than I think some others would take. But it was just to kind of give me some normality and anything else. And like gaming is great for that. Sorry about the noise. It is officially springtime and everyone's outside in the garden, people are playing music, somebody's they're fixing a motorbike right outside my window. So yeah, you're going to hear noise and it'll be fine, and I'm going to continue to knock the camera. Apologies. So we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I've not looked at these yet, so I'm going to pull your cards, and then I'm going to pull a fairy advice, one of these happy-ish cards, which are great, and then what's the tea on the situation. So Monday, the freaking I love when that happens. It also like makes me go all excited. The death card. I haven't seen these, so like, yeah, my goodness. Yeah, so full on death card right here. This is exactly what I'm seeing in my head. That's, yeah, it takes me a sec. I've forgotten everything I was going to say. Right, the death card. So yeah, that grief, that bereavement, that change, you know, and it doesn't have to be the loss of a person. It could literally just be a relationship, a situationship. Nobody really talks about like losing a friend or being away from a friend. And I don't mean like that person's passed, but like the friendship itself has died. You know, there's a real sadness to it. You know, I'm getting, again, Ghost of Christmas Past. I feel like for some of you, this has been going around for a while. Or going on for a while. Maybe like you've drifted away from certain people. And that's okay, we do that. You might meet again in the future, you might not. Again, I'm being drawn to this, like, I think it's a rosebud. But it's making me want to see it as like a pumpkin kind of thing, which makes me think of like autumn and what is it? What do you call it in America? Is it fall? Yeah, and that kind of stuff. This for me very much feels like you are really trying to take control and charge of your grief and bereavement, because I'm really getting drawn to the hands and the scythe here. And I want to say maybe just let go a bit as well, because it feels like those hands are like gripping, you know, white knuckling. Is that how you say it? Yeah. And I want to be like, just let go, just breathe, just take a minute, you know, and that gaming will really help you here. You know, I think for some of you, this is very specific, some of you, it will be, you know, the feeling of up and down, of not getting rid of your old self, but separating from your old self. You know, some of you may have, take what resonates, some of you may have been through rehab, you've been through some kind of health or hospital or clinical, there's something else with some of you, some others of you, and it's about that rehabilitation. Sometimes can feel like a death or a bereavement or that kind of stuff. And you're really feeling that on Monday. Tuesday, yeah, this is a reflection. I think with all the other piles, I wanted to pull the rest of the week, but for you, I just want to go one by one at the minute. But yeah, Tuesday feels like you're looking back. It's been a bit of a hard walk, run, journey. That was the word I want. You know, you've got a lot of wisdom because you've got the horns here either side. You've got Aries season. You're holding your own world here, and you're protecting yourself, and that's your inner world reflected outside, if that makes sense. You know, you're looking back and you're taking a moment to pause and reflect. I'm really drawn to this staff, which tells me like because it's pointing to the heavens and it's crystallized, which is telling me that you're really in tune with your own thoughts and everything that's happening, and you're getting those downloads from the universe. You know, you're really feeling that death and bereavement on Monday, and Tuesday you're like, okay, let's have a moment to pause. Let's really look at the situations as a whole, and it's that kind of thing. Wednesday, strength card. Yeah, Wednesday is a really nice kind of strength. You've got a bit of a boost from the energy. You've got things kind of aligned and everything feels much more kind of controllable as well. Let me just move these up a little bit. There we go. You know, everything feels more within your strength. What have we got? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I always forget the days of the week. Yeah, fortune. This is, for me, this is like the epitome of, what's the word I want? Oh my God, every single word has just left my brain. It's like it's not so much fated, but it's within your own control. Bloody hell, what is that word? I feel like my brain has just gone blank doing your reading. Yeah, because to me, maybe this word will come back to me, but what I'm trying to say is, like, to me, you spin the wheel, that is your own fortune, but it's you physically doing something. And I feel like, yes, fate to me and destiny and stuff is real, but it doesn't matter how you get there. That is your choice. I feel like most of you know are probably screaming at the TV, like, do you mean this word? You make your own journey. It doesn't matter, say if you're going from here to, your parents' house or whatever else, it doesn't matter how you get there. If it's a plane, if it's a helicopter, I don't know why I say helicopter, a car, if you walk there, if you get public transport, that is all of your choice. You're still going to get to your parents' house or whatever else. Do you get what I mean? And sometimes you don't necessarily have a bit of a choice because the car broke down, so you can't take the car, so maybe you get a lift off someone else and you share that journey with someone else. Oh my God, I'm gonna like scream the word later. It's where you pick your own fate and destiny. Whatever. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. You can choose to spin the wheel. You don't have to spin the wheel. Yeah, everything is in your hands. There's the spikiness here, which is like your thought process as well with it all. So that's more Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday is gain. Yeah, you're gaining the richness of your own decisions. You're feeling a bit flushed. You're paying the toll for your journey. You've come to more of a decision. And this reminds me again of like that cute kind of little animated kind of like dog or bear or something. You can see the little nose with the eyes either way. Yeah, there's a playfulness kind of here, and you can see the spikes here, which are about your thought process, or your kind of an overthinking. They're more directed here, and there's playfulness when it comes to Friday. Saturday, yeah, you can see, you can fully see all the kind of the spikes and the kind of overthinking a little bit here, but you're fully taking everything into account. Maybe you've tried something new on Friday, now on Thursday, or you're thinking of it Friday, you're implementing it, you're seeing the benefits of it. This could be a business decision as well. This could be, a different way that you care for yourself. You'll know and take what resonates. But this is like, okay, let's experiment with these things. Let's look what's in my circle of control. There's a real pattern with all three of the piles, which is for this week coming, which is look at what you can control and what you can't. And I feel like for some of you, your mental health or your physical health or your emotional health, whatever it is you need, you're fully a lot more aware of what it is that you need when it comes to Saturday. I can see some of you like booking tickets to Rome. I think it was pile 1, maybe it was pile 2. Somebody was maybe have a look at some of the other piles and they might resonate in a different way. But some of you, are thinking of heading over to Italy, to Pisa or to Florence or to Tuscany, or going over to Rome. There's a bit of a traveler's bug as well. Yeah, you're getting things into alignment. This is less about getting things into alignment physically and more like in your head. There's an emotionalness on Saturday. And then Sunday, you've got adjustment. You've put everything in your scales and you're trying to rebalance yourself. And that's all you really have to do with a lot of grief and passing and stuff like that. Whatever that is, whether that's, a person that's past a situation, a part of yourself that you've let go, whatever it is, there is a readjustment and there's a balance. And you can see the way she's like, if the camera can focus, pinpointed directly just on the very edge of the knife. You know, it's a very meticulous, is that the word I want? A kind of situation here. Yeah, I feel like a lot of you have the message already that you need and that you wanted. Yeah, just check in with yourself. There's a lot of swords here as well. There's a lot of, like, there's either swords or discs. So we've got swords, discs, there's a bit of wand. Yeah, more kind of swords you can see kind of here. And the swords are the same because the swords mean clarity in this deck. So it's about coming into, and you got a staff there as well, you know, coming into that clarity of everything that you need. And I feel like a lot of you, it's like, just be playful, just go and enjoy different things. What did you enjoy to do? What did you enjoy when you were a kid? You know, it's all you're some of you are overstressing about the destination or like fate or whatever else, and like it really, you'll get there. Wherever it is you want to go, you'll get there. But it's how you get there. That is your choice. The things that you, I feel like I've said this seven different ways. You know, it's all within your choice. I can't think of that freaking word, and it's gonna, yeah, maybe this is gonna be you, pile 3, that you're just not gonna be able to articulate what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and it's you know, there's very much going inside, really looking at what it is that I need. So, what's the tea? I feel like that was not the best reading, but for some of you, it really like landed. It really was everything that you needed to hear. And like, you heard it early on and then was just like, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing now. I'm like, okay, cool. It's a timeless reading. Take it as it resonates. Hello. Yeah, copycat. Steal your ideas. Duplicates of style feeds off your creativity as well here. Yeah, I'm going to put that there. There was a couple of different things I wanted to say about that, and I was like, I am not so sure. Yeah, somebody's feeding off your energy. Someone's been unjust. We'll say that. Someone has been unjust. Someone has been unkind. Someone's going to, this to me feels like someone's going to really get their karma. For some of you, it's a friend. It's a business partner. It's somebody that you thought had your corner and protect you and would protect you, and they haven't. And like, I'm looking at this card and it makes me angry. And it's that feeling. Yeah. Stand up. It's like, stand up and speak your truth. Yeah, you're not alone in this world. Stand up and speak your truth. What else do you need? Spiritual healer. Mad, you're glowing up. Thinks your magic is fake. Low vibes only. So yeah, this is like, for some of you, this is really about someone really trying to keep you small, keep you minimal. And I feel like it's a double-edged sword in a way, because it's like we're made to feel like that in general as a society by fill in the blank, the uppers, you know. But also I feel like some of you have people in your life who make you feel small. And I want to say, like, I'm trying to think of like a really nice way to say it other than cut them off, because for some of you it's not as easy as cutting people off, but it's like a step away from them. Yeah, giving money, paying the bills, always asking, trying to buy love. Yeah, people whose love, their dependence, is really not, they don't have your best interests at heart. We'll say that. Last one, no facts, all vibes, no receipts, talking nonsense, messy storyteller. Yeah, there's a real manipulative, there's a real manipulativeness here. And I feel like for some of you, you've really broken out of this. You know, Queen Rising, glowing up loud, all eyes on her, coming up spotlight. You know, you need to sit in your playfulness, sit in everything that makes you feel good. Recreate that cozy environment that you're missing. Recreate that space, that romance, whatever it is that you're missing. And just feel all of your feelings. Because there are a lot. There's an overwhelmment here. There's a lot. I'm going to get you your card of the week. Yeah, the Lipless Fairy. Appreciate the beauty and value of the exquisite and the small. Sorry, I'm going to put that there. Bring that up here. You know, take things slow. Take things little by little. Take things... It's those small steps. And it's like, again, recreating this, like, the vibe and the environment and the space that you actually want as well. And being surrounded by the people that you want. I feel like for some of you, there's a fear about being lonely or alone. And it's like you've not fully kind of found your tribe a little bit. So you kind of hang out with people, or you're surrounded by people who, again, don't have your best interests at heart. And I really want to be like, just go out and find things that you enjoy, and the people will follow as well. Okay, happy-ish. There's an uncomfortableness, like I feel uncomfortable. Like I'm struggling with my words. I'm taking breaks, and like that's not a bad thing, but that's what I feel like your energy is in. There's an exhaustion as well. Oh. You're learning. When you were a baby, your first steps ended with you flat on your butt or face. The first words you said were just gibberish, and you had to learn literally everything you know how to do right now, like paying taxes and buying a car and recognizing what food needs to be refrigerated right after opening. Just because you're taller and have bills to pay doesn't mean you have to be an instant expert at everything. You're a former baby, a former kid, and you're still learning. What did I say about taking things slow, about taking baby steps, about going back to the beginning of stuff? I still can't remember the word I want, but that's fine. It's like, control what's in your control. Yeah. Take him in and take a breather. And if you want to escape into like the world of gaming or whatever else, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be gaming. It could be books, it could be painting, whatever it is. That is fine. You're feeling your feelings. You're taking this moment for yourself. And everything is within your control. There's no FOMO. You know, you're not missing out on anything. You're fine. But feel everything. Yeah. That is it, pile 3. I feel like there was a lot of different energies and a lot of different things kind of coming through. So I feel like it was a little bit everywhere. But that is kind of my my readings anyway. Thank you so much. Again, please hit what resonates. Leave what doesn't. And as ever, please like and subscribe. Take a minute for yourself as well, because there's an overwhelming feeling, and there's a feeling like I can't really get my words out. But other than that, I hope you have a gorgeous week either way, and know that you are loved and you are loved. Thank you. Bye.